They rejected you, dismissed you like you were nothing, but now, it's your silence that's haunting them, not your words, not your tears, your silence, and it's louder than anything they ever imagined. This isn't just revenge, it's revelation, stoic, unapologetic, real. Let's talk about why your silence is killing them inside. 1. The power of your silence. You gave them everything, your time, energy, affection, loyalty, all laid out without hesitation. And what did they do? They rejected you, walked away, made you feel invisible, like your value was conditional. But here's the stoic truth that most people miss. Your silence after their rejection isn't weakness, it's power. Silence isn't about being passive, it's about being deliberate. It's about knowing your worth so deeply that you don't need to announce it. You don't chase validation. You don't beg to be seen. Because when someone chooses to walk away or treat you like an option, your reaction tells them everything they need to know about your self-respect. And when that reaction is silence, that's when it hits. At first, they feel relief. They think they've escaped responsibility, that they can move on while you sit in confusion and pain. But the longer that silence lasts, the more it starts to haunt them. It creates a space where their ego has nothing to feed on. No arguments to win, no attention to absorb, no emotional hooks to grab onto, just emptiness. You've removed yourself as a source of comfort. You've taken away their safety net. And now they're left alone with their thoughts, replaying every word they said, every moment they dismissed you, and every action they justified while you were bending over backward. Silence, in Stoicism, is mastery. It's restraint. It's the choice to disengage not out of bitterness, but out of strength. It tells the other person, I no longer allow you access to my peace. And this silence, it's not just absence, it's a mirror. It reflects back to them everything they refused to see while you were present. Your consistency, your care, your value. That's when they realize the game's changed. 2. The mask of indifference. They'll never admit it, not in public, not even to themselves at first. But deep down, your silence stings, and they start to wear a mask to hide it. This is when you'll see them post cryptic quotes, flaunt their social life, or casually mention new people in their lives. They'll act like they're fine, like your absence means nothing. But what they're really doing is trying to fill a space that only you occupied, and failing miserably. Stoicism teaches that external things, like validation, approval, or even relationships, are not in our control. The only thing that is, how we respond. So when you don't flinch, don't react, and don't engage with their little performance, it unsettles them. Because that mask of indifference, it's fragile. It was easy to overlook your worth when they felt in control. But now that control is gone, replaced by silence, they start second-guessing everything. Did I push them too far? Why aren't they chasing me? Who are they with now? The questions become louder than your actual voice ever was. And here's where many make the mistake, reaching out to check in just to see if the mask is real. Don't. The moment you do, you give them oxygen. You validate the illusion that they still hold power over you. But by staying silent, you keep the pressure on. And that pressure breaks the mask, slowly, quietly, until they can't keep pretending anymore. They'll try to act strong, but every moment of your silence chips away at their confidence. They're not as unaffected as they seem. They're just too proud to show the cracks, but pride can't protect them forever. 3. The slow creep of regret. At first, it's quiet. Just a small thought that crosses their mind. Maybe I was too harsh. Maybe they actually cared more than I realized. But that thought grows. Regret creeps in like a fog, slow, consuming, and impossible to ignore. And it all starts because of one thing: your silence. When someone rejects you, they're not always rejecting you. They're rejecting the version of you they thought they could always come back to. The version who's always there, who keeps texting, checking in, waiting. But when that version disappears, they start to feel the vacuum. And that vacuum becomes regret. It's in the little things. The memory of your voice, the way you listened when no one else did, the warmth you brought into their life that, at the time, they couldn't even appreciate. It all starts coming back. And now, in your absence, they feel the contrast more than ever. This is the stage where they might try to reconnect subtly. A like on your post, a random message, even a late-night text that says nothing but means everything. But Stoicism tells us, don't be fooled by impulse. Regret isn't always a sign of change. It's a sign of discomfort. They're not reaching out because they've transformed. They're reaching out because the silence is becoming unbearable. But here's where your strength is tested. Because if you break that silence too soon, you rescue them from the very lesson they need to learn. You interrupt the growth that only regret can trigger. And worse, you hand your power right back. Your job now is not to be their comfort. It's to be their consequence. The living reminder that when you disrespect someone who loves you, you don't get unlimited chances. You get one, maybe two. But eventually, you lose access. Permanently. Let the silence do what it was designed to do. Reveal truth, ignite growth, and expose regret for what it is. A mirror showing them what they threw away. 4. The substitution illusion. Rejection is often followed by replacement, not because you're forgettable, but because they're avoidant. Rather than sit with regret, many people rush to substitute you. They jump into distractions, flings, new connections, anything to escape the silence you left behind. They might post more, laugh louder, act like they've upgraded, but pay attention, they're not moving on, they're running. And there's a big difference. Stoicism reminds us, he who is brave is free. And you, in your silence, have chosen bravery. You're facing the pain head on. They, however, are choosing shortcuts. But the problem with shortcuts? They never lead to real healing. A new person might give them excitement, temporary relief, but it's like taking painkillers instead of treating the wound. That wound, your absence, is still there. And when the novelty of that new distraction fades, the silence you left will return. Louder than ever, they'll compare, consciously or not. They'll notice that the new person doesn't get their inside jokes, doesn't care as deeply, doesn't make them feel as safe. And that comparison will sting. Because you weren't just a placeholder. You were the one they didn't know how to value until it was too late. So when you see them flaunting their new chapter, don't react. Don't comment. Don't flinch. Let them run. Let them chase empty comfort. Because the deeper they run into substitutes, the clearer they'll see. You're not easily replaced. You weren't a chapter. You were the whole book. And they threw it away for a pamphlet. 5. The quiet collapse of their world. Everything looked fine on the outside. They smiled. They posted. They partied. But underneath, something starts to shift. A quiet unraveling they can't stop. Because you weren't just another person in their life. You were their anchor, their balance. And now that you're gone, things start to fall apart. It begins subtly. Restlessness, lack of focus, emptiness they can't explain. The new people around them feel shallow. The distractions no longer distract. Because real connection can't be replaced by noise, they start noticing things. How their highs don't feel as high anymore. How the fun feels forced. How the people they surround themselves with don't fill the same emotional space you did. And that's when it hits. They're starting to lose grip. Stoicism teaches that when the external world collapses, your internal strength is all you have. And right now, your silence is revealing what they lack: internal grounding. They're realizing that while they walked away from you, they were also walking away from stability, peace, and depth. This isn't about revenge, it's about clarity. Your absence has created a void that no one else can fill. And the more they try, the more they're confronted with how essential you were, and how casually they treated you. You are no longer in their world, but your absence is louder than your presence ever was, and the collapse has only just begun. 6. The truth behind the mask. By now, the performance is getting harder for them to maintain. The mask of indifference, the confident facade, the casual "I'm doing great" smile, it's cracking. Because deep inside, they're running out of distractions, out of justifications, out of illusions, and in its place, truth. Uncomfortable, raw, undeniable truth. You see, masks work for a while. They protect the ego. They let someone pretend that they're unaffected, that the silence hasn't touched them, but masks get heavy. Especially when silence lingers. Especially when memories come flooding in. Especially when pride is no longer enough to fill the void. This is where they begin to feel not just regret, but accountability. They start seeing themselves for who they were in your story. Not the hero, not even the victim, but the one who misjudged, mistreated, or misunderstood someone who only wanted to give them genuine love. And that realization, it breaks them down in silence. They don't talk about it. They can't. Because talking about it means admitting they were wrong. And for many, that's harder than the actual loss. So they suffer in quiet, trying to hold the mask a little longer, smiling for the world, dying inside. Stoicism tells us, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. This is the internal battle they're now facing. Do they grow? Do they change? Do they become the person you always believed they could be? Or do they double down on the illusion and lose themselves in the process? This mask, once a shield, is now a prison. And every second you stay silent, the walls close in. They're starting to suffocate in their own denial. And you've become untouchable, because you've outgrown the need to be seen by someone who couldn't even recognize your worth when it was right in front of them. 7. The breaking point. Every story of regret has a breaking point, a moment when the weight becomes unbearable. And for them, that moment is now. They've ignored it, denied it, distracted themselves from it. But the silence has stripped away every layer of defense. And now they're staring at the truth. Not just your absence, but what it represents. Their failure to love, to appreciate, to value someone who gave wholeheartedly. They replay the rejection, the way they said it, the look on your face, the moment they thought they were making the right decision. But it all feels different now. Twisted, empty, painful. This is when they begin to spiral. Not necessarily outwardly, but internally. Because the breaking point doesn't always look like a meltdown. Sometimes it looks like insomnia, like overthinking, like emotional fatigue, like guilt that won't fade no matter how many nights they go out. And at this stage, they want to reach out, desperately, but pride is still there, that inner voice whispering, they're probably over it. They probably don't want to hear from you anymore. And that's when fear joins the party. They fear they've lost you for good. That even if they do reach out, it's too late. That your silence isn't just a pause, it's a goodbye, and it eats away at them. You, however, are no longer the same person they rejected. You've grown, you've healed, and now the choice is no longer theirs, it's yours. Their breaking point isn't your invitation to return, it's your confirmation that walking away was the right decision. 8. The final realization, you were the one. There comes a moment, maybe weeks later, maybe months, when they stop fighting it. The denial fades. The distractions stop working. And they finally admit the truth to themselves. You were the one. Not perfect, not without flaws, but real, genuine, solid, rare. They remember your voice when no one else listened. Your loyalty when it wasn't convenient. Your presence when they didn't deserve it. And it hits them like a wave. All the times you showed up, and all the times they took it for granted. Now they see what you were. Now they understand the depth they lost. And the silence, your silence, is what made them see it. You never raised your voice, never begged, never chased. You just stopped. And that calm, unbothered, stoic silence, it changed the entire narrative. They can't find you in anyone else, because you weren't playing a role, you were being yourself. And that self, that version of you they rejected, That's the one they can't stop thinking about now. But here's the twist. You don't need their validation anymore. You've outgrown the need to be chosen by someone who failed to see your value the first time. You've walked through the fire of rejection, used the silence as a weapon of clarity, and emerged with something they'll never have again: your peace. So let them realize it, let them feel it, let them mourn it, because they lost someone irreplaceable, and you finally found yourself. So, if you're sitting in silence right now, hurting, doubting, wondering if they even care, let me give you this truth. They feel it. They just won't show it. But here's the part that matters most. This silence, it's not about them anymore. It's about you, your growth, your healing, your evolution. You're not here to be someone's emotional safety net. You're not a backup plan. You're not a second thought. You are the standard. And anyone who couldn't see that doesn't deserve front row access to your life. So if this message hit you in the chest, if you felt seen, if you felt understood, do one thing right now. Comment below. My silence is my power. Let the world know you're not chasing anyone who can't recognize your worth. And if you're ready to keep leveling up, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, then don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This journey doesn't end here. We're just getting started. And together, we're going deeper. Stay silent, stay strong. And remember, the ones who truly value you will never make you question your place in their life.